Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I make this video uh, to explain about psycholinguistic for the first meeting until uh, 5 meeting. Okay, before I explain about it, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Afifur Rahman, and then you can call me Afif, and I am from Tbi A class 5 semester. Okay, for the first meeting, I would like to explain you about introducing psycholinguistic. What is psycholinguistic? Psycholinguistic, scientific study of behavior and mental process. Behavior in there is anything we do over action and reaction. Will mental process are our internal experience, thought, feelings, memorize. That is. Explain about psycholinguistic. Psycholinguistic is study of the cognitive process that support the acquisition and use of language. I would like to inform you that the benefit we study psycholinguistic is help us scientifically evaluate common belief and misconception about behavior and mental process. The scope of psycholinguistics are acquisition, comprehension, loss, and production. That is, introducing in psycholinguistic is scientific study of behavior and mental process. Okay, I will continue for the second meeting. The second meeting is language compound word. Language behavior describe how to perceive words and store them in the mind, how to understand a sentence, how to learn, how to read, how to language and writing system influence mental organization. For example is like visual word recognition. Easy to identify when the writing of math in your mind because you store that word for the previous time. So when that word appears, it will automatically your brain work immediately to identify. But when the word is not contract in the right way, or you never know it before, so even you try to find what's such of that thing in your brain, you will never find it because you never store anything related to the case. I will continue for the third meeting is language center. Language center is the human brain. The brain is composite of neurons, nerve cells that are the basic information processing units of the nervous system. There are three types of human brain, namely is cerebral cortex, longitudinal fissure, and corpus callosum. The cerebral cortex has function ultimate control and information processing center. Part of cerebral cortex. For the first is frontal lobes, and then parietal lobes, and then occipital lobes, and then temporal lobes. For the first, frontal lobes. Frontal involved in speaking and muscle movement and in making plans and judgments. Second is parietal lobe, include the sensory cortex. For the third is occipital lobes, include the visual areas which receive visual information from the opposite visual file. For the fourth is temporal lobes, include the auditory areas, each of which receive auditory information primarily from the opposite ear. The next is anatomy of language is consists of Broca's area. It functions to speech production synthetic, where Wernicke's area has function language comprehension lexicon, and angular gyrus has function integrates visual and auditory info for reading. For the fourth meeting, I would like to explain you about lateralization is hemisphere specialist in the cognitive function. We have two parts in our brain. Right hemisphere has function holistic rationing, music processing, music of non-linguistic sounds, visual, spatial processing. Left hemisphere has function analytic reasoning, temporal ordering, arithmetic, language processing. I will continue in contralateralization. We have two parts in our brain, left and right. Left and right hemisphere. Right hemisphere control left side of our body and visual field, vice versa. When we see something by our eyes, right and left, so it will transfer to both left and right hemisphere. Something we see in the right side will process in the visual area of right hemisphere and vice versa. Next is decodic listening test. It's mean when we say something in the left our body, the sensory information will be transmitted right hemisphere and vice versa. Five meeting is aphasia. Aphasia is a language disorder produced by brain's damage. A damage to one of these areas will affect the ability to produce perceive language. Any language disorder due the brain damage caused by disease of trauma. There are three types of aphasia, namely is Broca's aphasia and weakness aphasia and conduction aphasia. For the first is Broca's aphasia, expressive aphasia. Broca's aphasia or expressive aphasia, it seems. For the second is aphasia. Symptoms fluent speech with no informational value. Their speech doesn't make any sense and comprehension impaired. Conduction aphasia, it is no relationship. Symptoms be able to understand and product speech, cannot repeat what they have just. Okay, how to resolve the aphasia language disorder is patient with aphasia can heal through professional treatment. Okay, just it for me. If you found many mistake, forgive me. It is explanation for the first meeting until 5 meeting. Stay healthy and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.